welcome to Keep It Real Live. We are so glad you have joined us. This is the Sunday we go live. We want to thank all of our viewers in the various markets. We want to thank Joel over in Nigeria and his team. They've been working all day long. I am Dr. Keepitreal, and for the past couple of sessions, she's been absent. The drum roll.
Sister Joy Osueke Rolle. That's what I like.
Okay, you love that. Even though she's a doctor, even though she's an evangelist, and we're so glad you have joined us tonight on
Isn't that how I
episode.
connect with you better? Yeah, that's what I do, and you like it, and you know you love that. They love me for that.
We are so glad you've joined us on episode 92. We're going to do two segments. The first 30 segment, we have in the house Charisa, Munroe, Wilborn, and also Pastor Nadine, Grigsby, and they're going to talk about the latest book that they paired up along with Joy. You can tell about that. We'll introduce them momentarily. In the second segment, we'll have Mr. Destry. He will join his lovely wife, and we're going to talk about wisdom keys for becoming a power couple. You know, so many couples are going through so much during this time of year, and therefore, when we did that marriage summer seminar, one of the comments that the couples made, the church paid for all of them. They were going through things, and the comments were they thought we were so transparent. And we have nothing to hide.
Yes.
Sometimes you tell me you can't stand me, but I love you to pieces.
And I said TMI, don't TMI is not for public consumption.
Okay, well that's keeping it real, because we have now we're not gonna fight publicly.
Well, sometimes you just pull and say, boo-boo, stop. It's too much.
Okay, you do the same. But that's not what we're about tonight. And we want to welcome all of our viewers. Our station in Nigeria will put up all of the nations. And we want to thank you for your support and your comments that you've been making throughout the year. Well, let's go to our sponsor. And we want to thank Reverend Professor Gerald Harrison, Create, Implement, Grow Successful Business. He was on the program back in October, and he agreed to do September. There's his contact information. He has a Power Church, CAM Global Church there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We were at the Tulsa last month with Pastor Rodney and Clavetta, and we had a great time. You still owe us a dinner, Pastor Harrison, and he's soon to be in the doctoral fraternity. All right, we want to introduce our two first guests, Charisa Munroe Wilborn. Let's put up her bio, and then I'll let you take it. These are ladies. We're gonna it's ladies' night. That's her bio. We need a bio, and then we'll put up. There she is. Look at that lovely queen. There, president of the Miles and Ruth Munroe Foundation. Yes, the daughter of the late Dr. Miles and Ruth Munroe. Vice President Munroe Global, President CEO of her own LLC, Charisa Munroe, motivational speaker, author. We're going to be talking tonight about her 31 day of empowerment devotional she wrote to help her get through a tragedy, and then also she is a wife to Destry and a mother. All right, then Nadine, that's our spiritual daughter. I'll let you introduce her, the queen of the Bronx.
I'm so honored to just talk about this, my girl. I call her my right-hand girl. Executive pastor of CHAP International. As a matter of fact, it's two churches. I call them twins. One in New Jersey and one in New York. United Nations Peace Ambassador. As currently certified chaplain and life coach. 2 times best. Is it 2 times? It's more than that. Recipient of a different award, U.S. presidential, and the wife of inspector. He's not a lieutenant or what?
He's an inspector.
Inspector. God is just making him big.
He's going to soon be chief of police of New York. All right.
And that's my nanny. I call her that. She is just a wonderful.
And she's our spiritual daughter. Well, Charisa and Nadine, we've been wanting to get you on the program, and finally you're here in living color. Yeah. So greet our viewers, whichever one wants to go first.
Absolutely, Dr. Rolle and Dr. Joy, thank you so much for having me. Yes. It has been a while since we've been trying to get myself and my husband on, and so we're happy that the opportunity is here. And it's one of the greatest episodes. I love the time of the holidays and Christmas. We get to help celebrate the life of Jesus Christ, but also we get to just kind of celebrate family and each other. So I'm grateful to be here. Look forward to sharing this platform with Pastor Nadine and my husband. You'll get to meet him a little later. And then we're going to have some fun.
All right, Nadine.
Yeah, I'm just really excited to be a part of the program today. And, I've wanted, this opportunity to come along for a little while now. And so I'm just happy that it presented itself. We came into town for just the Ministry of Care wonderful conference that we do annually. And the opportunity presented itself. And I'm excited to share my story tonight. It's very interesting.
All right. Talk about your children. How many children you got?
Children. So I have 4 miracle children, and we call them miracle because of my story, and we get into that a little bit later. My husband and I have been married for about 15 years, and initially, we were told that we would never be able to conceive naturally, and then God just gave us 4 miracle children because there's no explanation other than God as to how I was able to give birth to 4 healthy children.
All right. Before we get into the family of origin, Joy, you invited them here. You celebrated your 23rd anniversary gala with Ministry of Care. Tell a little bit about that. The topic was Empowered to Care, and Nadine flew from Queens, and that backdrop there, we wanted Charisa and Destry and Nadine to feel right at home, the winter wonderland. She's from New York. We don't get snow down here in Houston. And then presents under the tree, presents on the little loft over there. So talk about what you do with Ministry of Care and why these 2 personalities for this year's conference. It was spectacular. Yes. Had about 200 people there on last night.
Yeah, many people were watching online. I just want to thank God that when you want to do something, just do it wholeheartedly. When we started praying, we said, God, 23 years of service, what would you have us to do? And we heard very clearly, 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 30. Far be it that I will not honor those that honor me. These men have been coming to pray. Just honor people. Honor people, honor people. So that's what we decided. And said, I have empowered you to care. So we just started Empowered to Care. So people were coming from different areas. So this year, really, we saw God. God moved in a way we didn't expect. God brought Charisa and Nadine. We didn't even plan it. It was just God's divine appointment. And I was just telling her today, I left the fellowship. People said, the speaker touched my life. The speaker touched me, and everybody said everything. People online was giving testimony. I have not even looked at my phone. The phone is breaking. And we asked God to take the glory. So when you serve, what she said was, that made me cry. Who are you doing it for? If you don't get any award, if you don't get any service, if you don't get any applaud, because that's what we like. Hey, let this be real. You Africans, we Africans, if my name is not there, if it's not in my city, if it's not for my glory, why will I do it? But is that what Jesus did? So we had a night of rethinking about our life. We had the night of impact. We had the night where we go home and the evaluation had been coming. Oh my God. And that's what we wanted. So it was powerful. And I told my husband, I was not looking for their money. I was not looking for anything. If somebody was touched, for a young girl to call me and said, I'm on my way to come and help wash and clean. Don't know what you did.
And that's servant leadership.
That's servant leadership.
Well, let's go to Charisa. And Charisa, tell us a little bit of your family of origin and what it was like growing up in the Bahamas and being the daughter of the legendary, late Miles Munroe. He was my spiritual father and mentor. I wrote to him, I'm Bahamian, and we like fried fish and stew conch and conch salad mine. And so tell us what it's like. And then Nadine, we want you to do the same. You also a cousin. You're from Trinidad and Barbados, and you were queen. And you can tell your experience, and then we'll find out who all's on. So Joel, as you're listening, please send me this information so we can personally call out the nations that are viewing us today. Charisa.
Absolutely, Manny. Like he said, I'm the daughter of the late Dr. Miles and Ruth Munroe from the beautiful island of Nassau, Bahamas, and it's been amazing growing up with a father as profound as mine. You guys, everyone knows him as Dr. Munroe, as Pastor Miles, as Brother Miles, Reverend, whatever title you want to give him. But I grew up with Dr. Miles Munroe as daddy, as my father. And that will always be, forever be, my experience and my relationship with him as daddy and mommy. Everyone knows her as Pastor Ruth, Sister Ruth. But growing up as a pastor's kid over the years, and even now, I'm still associated with my dad. I've tried my endeavor best to figure out how can I kind of build my own name separate from his, and then I realized very quickly that I can never do that.
Wow.
It's almost like it would be like me as a kingdom citizen trying to create my own name and independence from Jesus, from God.
Yeah.
That's
and
powerful.
I can't do that. There should always be that connection. There should always be that association. And so I've stopped trying to disconnect myself just because I want to create my own name.
Image and brand.
When I get to truly build on the footsteps and the imprints and the impact and the legacy that my father has laid before me. And so it's been an amazing journey. Now that he's no longer here, the last 10 years has been truly a journey of mountains, of valleys, of highs and lows, of trying to figure this thing out with them not here. But God has been truly faithful. He's been truly faithful. I made a promise to my dad many years ago, and I used to say this from the stage, that I truly want to be better than him.
Wow.
I want to be greater
My
than
God.
he was in the world.
Mhm.
And that's still my desire. That's still my vision.
Okay. Well, you on that trajectory, and I'll never forget when I met you in 2015. I knew you before then, but we were at the Oral Roberts. They were honoring him for a Lifetime Achievement Award during the 50th anniversary, and I came to you, and I said that you don't know me, but I'm from the Bahamas, and your dad poured so much into Royal Ambassadors and to me. In fact, that's how we have that name. He said that you will call your ministry Royal Ambassador because you are a Royal Ambassador. You are a kingdom ambassador in a kingdom to the nation. I said to you, we had your son, your brother, which is your dad's and mom's son, to come and spoke at our Kingdom Summit, Global
In
Summit.
17.
And I said, how can I show kindness to you and Miles Jr. for all you've done? Nadine, tell us your story, and then we're going to get right into talking about the books.
Well, I am from Trinidad and Tobago. I was born and raised there until about the age of 16 years old, and then I migrated to the United States of America. And that too was a miracle, because there's no 16-year-old Trinidadian girl that's going to get a green card in Trinidad. It would be a process, but it came so easily, so miraculously. And once I came to the United States, God just paved the way. I came here at 16 alone. No friends, no family, stayed with a perfect stranger. And God promised me that I'll always be sheltered and covered and fed. And it's been 25 years. And
He's too faithful to fail you
He's too
yet.
faithful to fail me.
All right.
So I'm grateful.
How did you and Nadine get connected?
How did we get connected?
We went to missions, right?
We went to missions.
Okay.
You know, and then they roomed both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so funny. Anything that Nadine was experiencing, asked me question, manifested in the mission field.
Wow.
So she was like, I stayed with you, and you told me this, and it happened. So it was so funny. We were laughing. And then we clicked. Somebody was sick. And then I said, this is we just, you know how you know. Charisa always tell us there's something about knowing. And since that time, the way we talk, we can just use our eyes and laugh. You know, we became just these sisters.
And sometimes you on the phone talking to her, TMI, more than her. But I'm not jealous because that's my spiritual daughter. And she also was the coordinator for our wedding. We got married on the 26th of October, their anniversary the 23rd. And so they forfeit their anniversary to come
and
down to help
that
us.
church.
And then we reciprocated and we took them to Cancun, Mexico.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll
Why would I
never
remember
forget that.
that?
And then they went with us to also Italy, Venice. I brought the whole family.
We had
All right, we
fun.
want to thank our viewers. We want to thank South Africa. Also,
Hi, South
Charisa,
Africa.
them have a foundation there. Nigeria, your country.
Yeah, we are.
United Arab Emirates. It's already in the
Yeah.
middle of the morning there. United Kingdom
Ooh.
and United States. We hopefully Australia, India, Fiji, and
Fiji will
France will
come in.
join us. All right, let's talk about the book. Y'all let you take the lead. You all did a recent book. If you can put up the book photo for Charisa and Nadine, please. And then it'll be up on the screen. And then call us at 210-589-0884. We no longer have the studio phone, but you can call my phone, calling from out of the country, put +1, that's +1, 210-589-0884. And those of you that are in the call center, you send your questions for Charisa or Nadine through the chat on Winnie World. All right. Put up the books, please. Just keep it up there for a minute. All right, 31 day of devotional empowerment. And then you all did the book Survival. And it's an Amazon #1 seller. So talk about that. How you got them involved. And Charisa can tell her story about that 31-day devotional.
We just noticed that some women from different countries feel that even though they are here, they don't belong. Or what they have gone through, other people don't. For example, when we talk about somebody dying, or for example, a woman losing her husband, they don't understand, because here you get food stamp, you get social security, you get anything. But back home, we don't have that. So when we come here, we work as if there is nothing. So we say, how do we survive? So we started talking. Everybody brought their stories. We see that we struggle. Some were abused. Hey, let me tell you, some of these men from Africa, even though it's a culture, but some of them can be very abusive. My dinner must be ready by 6 o'clock. If it's not by 6 o'clock, I don't eat soup 2 days. And this woman is working 24 hours. You make her work 2, 3, or 4 jobs. Honey, this is not Nigeria, this is America.
All right.
So we started telling our stories, and we see there was so many pain. We started sharing our life, and that's how we came. We noticed that it was not only for
How many
Africans.
writers are there, contributors?
Nadine will tell you.
Tell us, Nadine.
So there are 12 contributors, 12 co-authors on survival of the immigrant. Initially it was called Survival of the Immigrant Woman, and then we took the word woman out and we said survival stories, inspirational stories, so we could include in the next volume men also. And it just chronicles various women, these 12 women that came together and wrote their stories of triumphs, stories of victories, stories of loss, story of challenges, and how we overcame, because we wanted our story to now be a survival guide for the next woman who would migrate to the United States and try to settle here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, and so it was successful. The only thing is that we lost one of the authors on the way, and tonight I just want to mention that Rose, in the middle of writing the book, the minute she submitted her story, she passed. And we also grateful.
And her name was Rose.
Her name is Rose Wright.
All right, she's transitioned on to glory. Now, Charisa, how did you get connected? And you did the forward. And what did you say in the forward? And why should someone get this book about that immigrant stories of this anthology that is written?
I think it was around the first time I first met Dr. Joy. First time I officially met you. You had invited me here to speak at the conference, and we had a beautiful African meal at your home. The great African food, by the way. And I was sitting down talking to Dr. Joy. She's just a great woman, a great hospitality, great service, great heart. And her and Pastor Nadine were sitting together, and they ambushed me. And they were telling me about this project they were working on and what it was about. And they wanted to know if I would do the forward. And I'm very leery on saying yes about forwards, because everyone asks me about forwards. So I always say I will only write a forward that God directs me to write. And I know when He directs me to write. So I've actually said no to a lot of authors who have written in, emailed in, can you do my forward? But this particular book, this particular project, but also the hearts of Dr. Joy and Nadine captured me from I met them. And then it was a while later before Pastor Nadine came and she sent me an email. I had forgotten about the request. And she sent me an email, and I remembered them. And I said, by this time, my relationship with Dr. Joy and Dr. Nadine had increased. It had just gotten deeper.
You did coaching with them.
Yeah.
I did coaching with them. They hired me to be their coach. And so there was a relationship that was there. And when they said, this is coming out, it's here, we want you to write the foreword, I said, absolutely.
Okay.
Especially when I understand that the foreword is to recognize women who have gone through, but they have truly been able to turn their trials into triumphs.
No, that's powerful.
They've been able to become empowered. And so the book is for them to tell their story, to help other women, to help empower other women to do the same, to go through challenges, but become more resilient. To, no matter, things are not always smooth when you're making transition and changes, but you still get to stand on top, and you still get to come out on top. And these women have come out on top. And it's a book of stories that can help other women who today are in the same transitions. And they get to say, man, there are other women who look just like me. There are other women who are hurting and feeling just like me, but yet here they are years later, you know, smiling and having miracle children, just finding husbands. You know, like there is so much story in this room. There's stories in this room. And I just had to back it. I had to back it. I had to support. That was also a success for them. Here they are, come with these stories, and here they'll come and ask me to do the forward, and I say yes. And I knew that would be another part of their success story.
Amen.
All right, we're going to let Nadine come in, and she's going to put up her books, Stories of a Miracle Mom, and then she did anthology 1 and 2, and then also Embracing Imperfection, and then also she has a story in survival. Very briefly, tell your story, and also out there in the viewing land, go ahead and send your questions for them so we can answer them, because we want to bring the king in here in the next 10 minutes so that we can have equal time. And you heard them say that they're going to write a story about me and Destry. Okay, we're going to do our book.
We didn't say that. So we didn't say that. I said when the volume is included, we can bring it. So
all right. Nadine, tell us about your story. You're a miracle girl.
I'm a miracle mom, right? Like I initially said that, you know, when my husband and I got married, I was given an unexpected diagnosis of infertility. I was told that I would never be able to have children because of the condition of my uterus, for lack of a better word, or just in the spirit of transparency. And it really hurt us. I spent a lot of time in tears and crying, but I remember going into a 7-day week of covenants and prayer and fasting and asking the Lord to help us. By this time, we were exploring other options. We were going to doctors, and they were telling me the same thing. They were doing ultrasounds and all types of tests, and my fallopian tubes were not filling up. And without giving up, I think one of the very last tests where we were trying artificial insemination, it wasn't working, and the doctor said, I'm going to have to do an ultrasound on you. And there I was pregnant without medical intervention. And then all of the mothers in that room, all the women who wanted to be mothers in that room started crying. Even the doctors were crying. We could not explain it except for the power of God. And the doctor,
miracle still happens today. You a miracle.
And it was a high-risk pregnancy because they were like, you don't have the uterus. There's so much issues with your uterus, but so we're going to monitor this closely. And my son was born almost 9 pounds, huge, big, nice baby. And Christian is 14 years old today.
And then there's the queen, the only girl. What's her name?
And my daughter, Celine Grigsby.
Okay, and then the next one,
and then we
my favorite. And then you. And then the fourth one is our godson.
That one, tell them about the
okay. Oh, he is a character, I'm telling you.
Tell them about the godson.
So the very last baby, you know, we were told that we have to have an abortion because they said, we don't even understand how you had the first 3, Nadine. You don't have the uterus for this. You're going to rupture and both of you are going to die.
All right.
And I said to them, if I perish, I perish.
Amen. Questions are coming in. Put up Carisa's 31-day empowerment. She went through the tragedy, and this story was, this book was birthed through that. On November 9th, I'll never forget, it was one of the saddest days of my life. I was called from the Bahamas, and they said, are you sitting down? The late Dr. Miles and Ruth perished along with 8 others in a plane crash. And I flew down there immediately. to be with this family. And like I said, some years later, I met her, and I mean, I'd known her because I would go to conferences that he would have, put up her book about that, tell your story, because some of them are asking questions about your books, 31 Days Empowerment for Everyday Living, and then we're going to let you answer the questions they are coming in. Call us, +1 210 589 0884 if you want to be heard over this, and then we're going to let them give tell you how you can buy the book. And then we're going to segue out and bring in the king. Okay, tell about that book, please.
So this book was birthed, you know how, if not most, all of Jesus' greatest teachings was because someone asked a question. Someone asked a question. And then someone else asked a question. And then people kept asking me questions on how do you do it? How, and this book came about a year and a half after my parents passed. So everybody wanted to know, how are you still smiling? How are you able to stand on stage and talk and speak about them and not burst and not cry? How do you not look disheveled? How do you not, want to commit suicide because your parents, they were just asking questions and I would answer. And I was talking to a friend of mine who assisted me with some other business work. And she said, why don't you just put all of these answers and questions in a book form, and then that way you don't have to keep repeating yourself over and over and over again. Wow. And I'm like, really? Oh, I don't want to write a book. And she was like, but you're verbally writing it. Why not just make it written? And so I took a lot of the questions and the responses that I was given to people, and I put it in a book, and I said, okay, fine, let's put it in a devotional, 31-day devotional, where someone have 31 principles of resilience, of character building, of finding joy, of saying yes, of saying no, of knowing to sweat the small things, but don't let the big things, or don't let the small things control you. Just these different principles that literally still guide me to this day, still get me through to this day. 10 years later, I still follow those principles. And so the book came out of people pulling out of me,
Out of your pain.
Out
of your tragedy.
Out of my pain, out of my tragedy, still trying to find their purpose, still trying to find their strengths. And I'm like, man, my strength is not my own, but it's from God.
We got several minutes, several questions in. What's the cost of your book?
It's $10, maybe $11.99.
How can they get that book?
Via my website. They can get via
and we'll put up
my website or Amazon, either of the two.
Okay. All right, Nadine, you wrote, if you can put the camera on this book right here. This is our autographed copy. Bring us in, please. I got the book up, Stories of a Miracle Mom. Put the camera on us, please. They're putting it up. So go ahead and tell us how much your book, there it is, how much your book costs.
Yeah, the book right now, it's only $9.99. It's Christmas special. And
how can they get it?
You can get it on Amazon. Just type Nadine Grigsby, Nadine Grigsby, and it will pull up my profile of books.
We'll put your social media up. Here's a question from South Africa. Rose wants to know, please, how can I successfully put a book on Amazon and market it successfully? Take 1 minute, both of you, and answer this. And then we got another one from Chamaka from Nigeria. Who wants to go first?
Amazon, it's very easy to self-publish your own book. And it's done fairly quickly. You have to get what is called a KDP account, and all of this you can Google it and you can find KDP account, create that account, and publish your book. Just make sure that what you're publishing is well edited and well written, and it's very easy process.
All right, Charisa.
And I'm gonna say ditto what Nadine said, only because I wrote my book about 8-9 years ago, and the format I use, Create Space.
Okay.
It's not there anymore. Amazon has upgraded their publishing system, so I haven't written any books for them recently, but what she's suggesting is
the KDP.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, Joy, you want to say something before I go to Nigeria?
No,
this
ahead.
is a very interesting question.
Go ahead.
How did you have faith to stand against the doctor's report and conclusion of your inability to give birth? I have been asked to go to native doctors and seek prophets to give a miracle birth. That's powerful.
Yeah, I love that question.
Me too.
I believe in Jesus Christ with all of my heart and soul.
You're not ashamed.
I'm not ashamed, and I'm unapologetic about my faith. Hence, they told me to abort my child, and I told them, if I perish, I perish. I stole that from Esther. So it truly is your faith in God that's going to make you stand. And this book is a faith-based approach to infertility. Ask God, and He is going to come through for you. If
Okay.
you can do it for me, you can do it
All
for
right,
me.
let's put up their contact information for Charisa first, and then we can put up Nadine, and then we're going to have each of them give a 1-minute message about, your story and the imperfection. All right, if we can put up the contact information, please, engineer, very quickly, because we want to give the king his space. And there it is, Instagram, Facebook, her website, and then also, that's YouTube, right? All right, Nadine, I love that picture. That was taken in the Bahamas just last month. Reverend Dr. Nadine Grigsby, Facebook, also Chap Outreach Ministry. We didn't talk about that, but we'll have you on next time. Nadine Grigsby at Outlook.com. All right, tell your story, 1 minute, and then also give a word of encouragement to the people. You give a word of encouragement of breaking barrenness, and then also getting through grief and suffering. And then that's the end of this segment.
My story is so many, you know that. But I want to say that my story is a story of courage. You are going to face things in life that will make you question God. You ask yourself, how do a young girl that is 30-something years old with 4 children lose her husband? You don't know how to write, you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do. But my faith, you see, faith comes in again. Yesterday, some things I learned is, you can say you have faith, but until you step out, until you step out and say, God,
Activate.
I cannot
Action.
do this, and God will help you. So if you sit down there and keep saying, yeah, have faith and have faith, no wonder the Bible says it is impossible to please God without faith, because he that come to him must believe that he's a rewarder. I say, so you're a rewarder. So I believe you to give me a good husband. I believe me to give
And here
me
I
good
am.
children. I believe you. So you have to believe him.
Yeah.
So either God is a liar or he's true.
He
So I
will
believe
not
he's
lie.
the truth. And the number says he cannot lie. So I believe them. Even when things are rough, I had one that said today, if an aggressive faith, flipping faith, we just have everything. A faith that said you cannot do it. I said, I may not do it, but I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
All
So
right,
that makes me
Nadine,
happy.
1 minute.
I just want to share with you that Jesus really loves all of us.
Amen.
God took my husband and I, who were just 2 ordinary people, and slapped his extraordinary on us and gave us what was seemingly impossible possible. So if he can do it for me, he's going to do it for you.
Amen.
Just trust in God.
All right, Charisa, you have the last word.
Absolutely. I want to encourage people to first understand that grief and suffering is real. Don't let anyone tell you that you are exempt from it. Christians don't feel grief. Grief, that's not true. Any human being can experience grief and loss. And once you acknowledge that it's real, then you can actually do something about it. And better yet, if you are a kingdom citizen, if you are a Christian, then you get to believe that joy truly does come in the morning.
Wow.
Amen.
And for myself, for my family, it was joy that we had to find every day to get through. And then lastly, purpose. Purpose is what gave me life. Purpose is what still gives us life today. And if the more you discover and uncover why you are here and why you are still breathing, no matter what you go through, grief, loss, pain, suffering, barrenness, no matter what.
Yes.
If you are still breathing and understand there's something left for you to do, you will find life again.
Amen. Amen.
All right, well, that's the end of segment 2, and you can contact us on Keep It Real. Once they put that up, we're going to bring in the king, and the next set you see, we're going to see the king to
king.
Charisa in here. Put up Keep It Real, please. There it is. Dr. Keith and Joy Rolle. Our Facebook, Keep It Real TV. Our telephone number 346-697-9473. If you would like to be a sponsor, give us a call, and then send us what you want. If you got some comments you want to say. All right, now here we are. In the house, it is none other than Destry Wilborn. Come on, sit close to your bride. Look at that. All right, put the camera on them. These are. You've been married 2 years now.
No, we're about to go on 5 years.
Oh my God!
4 years.
2. Okay, all right. 5 years. I'm
Feel
so
like
sorry.
2 minutes.
Okay.
Underwater.
All right.
4 years.
Okay,
Almost
5 years. 5 years.
Almost 5.
Almost 5 years. We're going on 6. All right. Well, welcome to Keep It Real. You're from Chicago, a native Chicagoan.
Born and reared.
Born and reared. You're a detective. Put up his bio very quickly, Mr. Destry. They had to correct me on that because I was saying it wrong and whatnot. But this is like a son. He and I are the same age, but I feel like I'm his father. Look at there. Visionary president, men of purpose. We're going to talk about that. Detective, Chicago Police Department, coach and mentor. We're going to show you the work he's doing in Burundi, Africa, and what he and Charisa are doing in South Africa. An advocate and a humanitarian, husband to Charisa and father. Well, welcome to Keep It Real and say something. We have Australia in the house. In Australia, I'll ask your question to Charisa because this is a very loaded question from Australia, and we'll answer it during this segment. So, Jonathan, just be patient. I want to give Destry due diligence. Tell about your growing up, why you got involved with Men in Purpose, and how this queen discovered you.
First of all, I'd like to address that mustache in that photograph, all right? Number one, you should ask me for a photo before you put that one up.
Okay.
I was trying to get the Wyatt Earp look from Tombstone for the month of November. It's called Movember, and so men grow their mustache out in the month of November to bring awareness to men's mental health and suicide and prostate cancer and so forth and so on. So that wasn't my regular mustache.
Okay.
That being aside.
Or you got a beard now.
Yeah, I know. I generally grow a beard, but
Okay.
I shaved it off for November. So when you took that photograph in the Bahamas in November, I was growing my mustache out.
Okay.
I was trying to get it to curl up,
Okay.
but it didn't get that long.
Yeah. What is it like being married to this queen?
The question is, you should ask her what it's like to be married to me. 'Cause I'm something else.
Okay, well, and that's gonna come.
I'm something else to deal with.
Okay,
I'm gonna
okay.
say this. Now, sometimes I say I'm too much for myself, so I know I'm too much for her.
And that's not arrogance or pride.
No, it's
That's
just
confidence.
Truth. It's just truth. But the reality of it, we have a good time. We have a really good time. We have different stories on how we met. I'm gonna tell you now, and that would take this episode and probably
5 more.
hour. Yeah, we have 2 different scenarios
Okay.
and how we came to be. But the long and short of it, I'm going to skip 5 years, when she told to ignore me.
Ignored you.
Ignore me.
Okay. She didn't want to marry me.
I understand why. But we actually happened to officially meet in Namibia, which is just south of South Africa, and yeah, I'd like to say, it's been good ever since, but I don't want to lie to the people.
Okay.
But we officially met in 2018 in the lobby of a hotel in Namibia. That's how we officially met.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me hear your side of the story. Joy, do you want to have anything you want to say? I'll let her answer how she met the king.
Yes, I can agree with that part. That part we agree on.
Mhm.
We met in Namibia, in Africa. We both love coming to the continent of Africa. It doesn't matter which country, but we just happened to be there together. And we just met there. Sparks didn't fly at that time, but that's
No.
where we met.
Mm.
And then a few months later, with continued conversation and going back and forth, and then it's kind of, I guess I started to say, oh, maybe
He ain't so bad.
maybe I can give him a little, try.
So I'm gonna tell you now. I'm gonna interrupt. Our first maybe 2 months
Mm-hmm.
was only communication by way of WhatsApp.
Okay.
And just text message. We had mutual friends, and I was sending. The mutual friends were visiting her for the holiday, so I was sending her packages for them. So our only communication was, "Hey, the package will arrive on Tuesday."
Okay.
On Tuesday, she texts back, "Hey, the package arrived." So that was initially our communication, and
And
then
it was supposed to stop. But then I guess he wanted to keep talking to me. He
Okay.
wanted to keep texting, and I'm
Okay.
like, okay, what this guy want? Because his mission is over.
Okay.
I was in the mission,
Okay.
and so he kept trying to shoot it short.
Okay. Right.
And make a very, very long story
Cupid.
short. At
So
some point-
Cupid in that arrow.
At some point, he made the shot.
Okay.
Blow dart.
Okay.
blow dart, you hit it right here, boom,
Okay.
it was out.
All right. Gary Chapman talks about 5 love languages. And what is your love language, Charisa? And then what is your love language, Destry? And then what is your love language? And then I'll share mine. And how couples can serve one another through their love language.
So I have 2 that are battling for first place. One is physical touch. I love affection, physical affection, and the other is quality time. I love spending time with my husband. So those are my 2 love languages.
Okay.
And
Destry?
actually, I'm the same. So I think my number one would be quality time, and I say this to her in all seriousness. There's no person on this planet I like spending time with more than her.
Wow, that's so
And I was
romantic.
Like it's not even romantic.
That's
It's just
so
like
sweet.
True. It's true.
But it's like I love going home.
Mm.
You know, I love.
We need to
You know, most people try to find ways to stay away from home. I'm trying to find ways to get home. And so just to be home with her, and now that there's a little one there, it's amazing. But 2, so quality time and then physical touch. And not even, let's be clear, not even from a sexual perspective, like just she and I being able to, lay in the bed and
Caress.
and just
Frolic.
just watch television. Like that is our favorite thing to do.
Amen.
So,
Okay, Joy, your love language.
My number 1 love language is act of service. Act of service. So when I come home and I call him Honey Boo, I see him washing the dishes, make breakfast. The other day, one woman came and said, "Is that your husband that was mopping the floor?" I said, "Yes, Mom." He said, "I'm going to tell the women." He's a man. Because you have this mentality, men don't do nothing.
My mom taught me.
Yeah, so he was mopping and they said, "My God," and he helped to cook. And then sometimes I feel like, Honey Boo is cooking. They say, "Can we come and eat his food?" So that's an act of service, and I love that. So my number 2 is gift. Let me tell you, it doesn't have to be expensive. One time I showed him an example. I went to dollar store. I bought something and I put a sticker with paper plate. I said, "Welcome home, Honey Boo, I love you." Just paper plate.
And I still
put it
have that.
in the pillow. So it doesn't have to be expensive. So for me, when you give me something, some people are so greedy. If you give me 1 cent, it feel like 1 million because it's my love language.
And mine is words of affirmation.
Yes.
And then also quality time. Sometimes she
Don't
loved
come
to
out too
prayer
much.
and go to the women group. And I said, "Hey, can you stay home this weekend with me?" And I wanted to make a comment about Destry. He said he runs to get home. And when I go out of the country or when I travel, I can't wait to get home to see what surprise you will have
Boo,
for
that's
me.
so good.
All right. There's a cure
Can
for
I make
this?
a comment?
Go
You know,
ahead.
there's
You're the
something-
co-host.
There's something they said yesterday. See, people are watching. Somebody came to me. She said, "It's just something about military men taking care of their wife." I watched Honey Boo. I watched Nadine's husband. He's a detective. Who did you say he was? I said he's a detective. He said there's something about military men. I said not all of them, but you don't know who's watching. At ACF, when the women are climbing the stairs, he will run up to help them. And they wanted to say, "Teach them! Teach them!"
Teach
They
children.
don't know what they're doing.
And I think you served in the military also,
Yes,
did you?
sir.
All right, so look at here. Look at this trilogy. Charisa, also Joy, and Nadine. So women, if you want a true servant husband,
please don't
you
go
get the
there.
military. And we're not controlling, we're really commanding. And we have a spirit of excellence on that. I thought I would put that in as a paid political announcement. Here's a question, and then we're going to get into talking about your family and then your ministry, and then we'll take some questions for you, and then we'll close out with you giving some wisdom keys to becoming a power couple. And they said, Charisa, how were you able to continue impacting the world even after your father passed by reason of this cause. Please, what is your conviction?
I love that.
I
word.
told you it was a powerful question.
I love that you ended it with the word conviction, because even before the conviction, there had to be purpose and vision. And what I love about my dad, I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful to have had the dad and the pastor in my life that I had in Dr. Miles Munroe, or in Daddy. That I was taught purpose. It was ingrained in me. It was brainwashed in me. I was taught vision. At least it was something good. And so I walk on that. I build on that. I live on that. And so my dad did a very good job laying down the foundation. He did a very good job laying vision, building a legacy. So I had a perfect example of what that looks like. But I also had a head start. I didn't have to reinvent wheels. I didn't have to start from scratch. And so my dad is a very good example of how I want my husband and I to build a foundation for our children.
Wow.
So that when they get 30 and 40 and 50 years old, they don't have to start from scratch.
Wow.
Like, that's what true wealth is. That's what true legacy is. And so my dad did a very good job doing that, which is why I'm not the only person in the world that can say Dr. Miles Munroe and Pastor Ruth truly impacted my life. They influenced my life, because that was their legacy.
You talked about two sayings at the Ministry of Care Gala. Say those to the listening audience, what he said, the graveyard, and also something else.
The graveyard is the wealthiest place on earth. And then he talked about don't die old, die empty. And so usually he would just say that. He had cut it short, and his whole thing was die empty. Don't add to the wealth of the grave. And that just meant truly pouring out all that you have, all that he's given you, the reason why you are here, your reason for your existence, pouring it out into what you care about, whether it's something or someone, uncovering and discovering your purpose and then fulfilling it. Like, that's how you die empty. And so because I understand that to the core, because it is purpose that gave me the life that I needed after they passed, my life's work now is to empower already powerful people to do the same.
Your husband died. Your
My
first
late
husband. Your late husband. I'm your husband now. I'm not going to die until I fulfill purpose.
Amen.
But anyway, you didn't know how to write a check. And then we got a question for the king here. I just love this man here.
He's so real.
He's so real.
I don't like people that fake
Amen.
things.
You don't. You can't
I don't
stand
like
for
fake.
fake people. You tell me that all the time. That's why we say keep it real. You
Keep it
came
real.
up with this title.
Yes.
But what I'm trying to get at is that you have this passion to serving others, and you serve out of your pain. And so briefly talk about that, and I want to ask Destry the question that we're going to show their ministry. More questions are coming in. We're going to have some calls I hear that's going to come in for these two. Then we'll show their ministry, and then we'll let them give you the wisdom keys for becoming a power couple.
Okay. What I notice now in this modern trend is people just copy. And the Holy Spirit told me one day, there's a reason when you go to interview, they say give us original copies. Please stop being copycats. Don't copy what other people do. This thing you are doing, is it what God wants you to do? Are you in the right place? Let me tell you an African proverb. When a child stands on the shoulder of her parents or his parents, they will see far. But if we sit, you will not see far. That is why, when I didn't know some things, I had to go coaching. Charisa, I don't know what I learned from her. She was being so real. I say, okay, I can connect, because it's like everybody I tell you, they're so flowery. Oh, my husband is so wonderful. We have never quarreled for 20 years. I said, really? Yeah. For 20 years you didn't quarrel? I said, please forget this nonsense.
Amen.
But I like them being real. So be real to yourself. And then I went to a conference, and then I said, you know what? Do you want me to speak? I'm going to keep it true, because I don't like this hypocrisy. And everybody started laughing. So I came back to him. I said, we are going to start this TV. If you start it, it's going to be Keepitreal.
Right, amen.
That's enough.
All right, this is a question for Destry. Being in a relationship for 4 years, we thought it was supposed to lead to marriage, but instead we broke up just last week.
Oh.
She said she wanted to focus on herself, but still I do not understand why she is thinking this way after 4 years and refuses doing or following anything I say to her. All right, Mr. Phil. Dr. Phil, answer that question.
There's not enough time. And listen to Destry. There's not enough time for him to answer this question. So, baby, keep it short.
Okay.
Keep it sweet.
Okay.
Keep it real.
Okay.
Listen,
Answer that for Richard. He's in pain.
okay, Richard. There's a song, and the line of the song is, when a woman's fed up, ain't nothing you can do about it. Right?
That's real.
And so sometimes, the reality of it is, we will all get to a breaking point in a relationship that's going to end. I think what happens oftentimes, most of us who've experienced relationships and we've parted company, we've all stayed in a relationship well past the time we should have left. So although it may be the 4-year mark and you're saying, hey, we thought we were on the cusp of something new, it could very well possibly be 6, 8, 9 months ago she checked out of the relationship. And I've often said this, being a guy who had been broken up with by many girls, I'm proud to meet now, is that by the time she decides to leave, she left 8 months ago.
Okay.
I had no idea. I'm thinking it was the best time of our life. So we don't argue, we don't fight. Yeah, because she stopped caring. And so there's nothing to argue and fuss about because she's already checked out. So usually when a couple breaks up, the man is surprised because he said, man, everything was going great, right? Because she stopped caring.
Okay. Is there a chance that Jonathan and her can get back together? Destry?
There's always a chance. And one, we have to get to the reason why they broke up. And oftentimes, I always say this: there's no such thing as a marital problem. Marital problems don't exist. A marital problem is, do we use one checkbook or two? Do we send the kids to public school or private school? Those are marital problems. Oftentimes what you have are single problems that were never resolved prior to the marriage. So you're fighting a single battle inside of the marriage, trying to figure out what's going wrong because the marriage is fine. Yeah, but you had single issues. So there's always a chance. You have to get to the real root reason as to why you all parted company to begin with.
All right. Go ahead. Pick it back.
Says to encourage other couples out there, especially married couples. So he said, marital problems are not marital problems us together. It is actually single problems or individual problems that were resolved prior to the marriage. And I learned that, or that became more real to me when I got married. And he and I had marital issues that came up, and I would go to the counselor because I also understand that when you are doing something that you don't know what to do, you get help and you get support. So I'm all for marriage counseling. Yes. I'm all for individual counseling. Please get yourself counseling, if only just to check in. But I would go to the counselor and I would just say, there's something wrong with Destry. Destry does this, Destry that. I would just go on and on about what needs to be fixed with him. All right. And it took me a good minute to realize that, Charisa, there is absolutely nothing that you can do to change who Destry is. That is God's child. That is God's mission.
With a question?
But I can do everything that I can do to change me, to adjust my behavior, to adjust my mindset. And when I started going to the counselor and we started having that conversation, the individual conversation, how am I contributing to the problem? How can I be a better person so that we don't continue having this problem? That is, when I say instantly, changes between he and I, it may have taken 4 years, but changes between he and I, the situation between he and I and our marriage started to get so much better because I started focusing on me as an individual and leaving him to God. That then made us as a married couple so much better.
You now have a child, and I think you want to share some news. Okay. All right, hold on. She's going to share about this. We have a call from Nigeria, and you can ask your question in a minute.
No news, but we do have a daughter. She's 22 months. She is she's the product of love, support, of God's gift to he and I, and her name is Legacy. Because we truly believe that she is our legacy. Yes, there's money, there's buildings, there's companies that we can have. But when you think about the fact that when we are no longer here, she's going to be a lifeful human being to continue on our legacy. The legacy of Charisa and Destry. That's who she is to us. She's an amazing, beautiful girl.
All right. We got a call.
Yes.
We got a call coming in, but let's put up their ministry. Let's put up Men of Purpose, and you can give us a 1-minute shout out because we want some tips and we want you to pray for couples and especially for singles. All right. Let's put up the pictures of Destry Ministry Men of Purpose. Please. There it is. Bye. Look at that. Tell us. That's in New York. Chicago. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And what is that picture all about?
Well, the one where the guys are dressed up. I take them to a Father's Day photo shoot every year, just to get them out really in front of other men, because oftentimes what we're dealing with in resource deprived areas is simply a lack of opportunity. And oftentimes most people need to see that there is something different or something more than what they've been exposed to. And so even when I started Men of Purpose in Chicago, and we also have another chapter in Burundi, but to be honest, it came from just trying to solve a problem. Wow. I saw a young man in the park. I'll give a brief story. 9-year-old boy at the park, language was foul. He's screaming and hollering. Now, as a homicide detective, I'm saying to myself, this boy right here is going to be a future victim or offender of one of my homicides.
So you want to be preventive and proactive.
And so initially, I said, I need to take off my belt. He need to get his, as y'all say, what y'all said, Muhammad?
The bottom cut.
His tail wheel.
His tail. That's what I initially thought. Then I said to myself, no. Everything this young man knows, every habit he has, everything that's been displayed, someone taught him this. And if he learned this, he can unlearn this. So then I said, let me go to my local grammar school, start with 9-year-old boys, so I can teach them a different behavior.
Let's put up the next picture about now he has a soccer team, he's built a school. And y'all can talk about this very quickly. Look at that.
Wow, that's amazing.
In fact, you all received the GT 100 award for your works in Africa. Yes. And Charisa, you can talk about your all's foundation as well. Then we're going to put up the legendary photo of your dad. In fact, we went to South Africa and we honored him posthumously. So talk about this and give us tips. And that's going to be the end of our program today. Very quickly, your school and then Charisa.
So we have a school in Burundi, in the province of Kabarwantwa, and it was really, it comes from, the idea came from, if anyone remembers the movie Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. There was a result we were looking for that we weren't getting from the school system there. And we came to the realization that if this is the thing we want, we're going to have to build it. And so we are educators, we are none of that, but just said, hey, you know what? Our young boys that we have we want something for them, so let's build it for them.
All right. Charisa, your old foundation in South Africa.
Sure. So my brother and I established a foundation once my parents passed called the Miles and Ruth Munroe Foundation. And we do work in the Bahamas, we do work in the Caribbean, and then we do work in Africa. And we do work in Africa a lot because my father loved the Bahamas. He was from the Bahamas. That's the place where God lives. But his second home, where the Holy Spirit lives, is Africa.
Wow.
And
that's
so
good.
that being with his heart, we said we will continue to work there. And so we still do a lot of work there. We work with schools, we work with churches, just giving back. My dad loved people, and he made people feel special. Yes. And so our foundation just continues the heart of both he and my mom to make people feel loved and special.
All right, let's put up their contact information. I'll let you say so. Let me put up their contact information and I'll let you close because we're running out of time very quickly. It's never enough time. Men of Purpose with his Instagram, Men of Purpose. On Facebook, contact him, and he is doing a great work. In fact, the Burundi team will play our team in Uganda. We went there, we dedicated the field. So look out, Burundi, we will win the championship. Put up Charisa's information, Very quickly again, there it is. And then put up the QR code for them to order the book. And I guess you'll sign it. How will that work? We should have asked Nadine. There's a QR code, engineer, if you can put up right quick, and the people can take a picture of it. And then I'm going to ask you to give us, each of you, 2 tips, and then of how you can become a power couple. Waiting for the QR code, please. Go ahead, Joy, while they're putting that up, and say what you have to say.
I know, I truly believe in what is called Kairos moment. As I don't usually say, the Lord said, as we were talking, and I saw this, how real all of us are. And that's what the world needs. I'm praying, I say, God, I hope we have opportunity where we can get Charisa and her husband and Queen, because your husband is the sweetest thing. And let's keep it real, because they're tired of flowers. They're tired of fake. I don't know how we're going to just impact people, the young people are into marriage. They thought it's, especially in Africa, they thought it's pleasing. They think it's pleasing. Right. So we thank God. I pray that God will bring us together in a forum where we truly sit down and break this thing easily. 2
tips each for becoming a powerful, wisdom keys for becoming a powerful couple.
Well, we were actually having a discussion together, and we came up with 2 or 3 that works for us.
Okay.
And I have to say that because I don't want people to think that marriage is a cookie cutter type of thing, type of entity. What works for us may not work for you. What worked for my parents won't work for us. And that was one thing that I had to learn, that I wanted my marriage to be like my parents. But then I also learned that I was not my mom, and my husband was not my dad. And so one of the things that we will say is purpose became everything. And what makes us work is the fact that he understands truly who he is and why he is. And I understood who I am and why I am before we came together. So when we came together, there was no competition. There was no race match. We actually complement each other.
Yes.
And that's really, really, really big for us.
Yes.
Because we are both doing big things in the world, as you can see. We're not doing small things. And usually, when it's like that, someone is going to overshadow someone. Or someone is going to take most of the spotlight, if you will, and the other person won't be able to handle it. But that doesn't work for me, my husband. We complement each other. We encourage each other. We support each other, because before I met him, he had met a purpose.
Right.
Before I met him, he had this vision. And that's probably why I'm like, maybe I can give him because he actually had a purpose for his life.
Right. All right. One wisdom key.
I don't want to be cheesy and use the word communication, because I just always say, let's scratch that, not communication. Oftentimes people talk about the idea of compromise, right? In a relationship, being give and take. Compromise is never an issue, because compromise means I get a little bit, she gets a little bit, we're both happy. Sacrifice becomes the issue, because sacrifice means you give something up and give nothing in return. But I think because we are both open and willing to sacrifice for the other. Today is Sunday. I'd prefer to be watching my Bears game. Yesterday, I would prefer to be at the watching the UFC fight, but I'm willing to sacrifice all of that to be with her.
Wow.
And so there are times when she's going to be the lead. I'm in the background with my pom poms, cheering her on, and then vice versa.
All right. There's the Scan Me code, and thank you very much. We're out of time, but we want to give you a gift.
Thank you.
All right, for being our guest on Keep It Real.
Thank you so much. This is a little
I'm guessing the gift is for her, though.
Okay, it's for you and Legacy,
since he has pink
our
on
goddaughter.
it.
No, it's for both of you.
Okay.
And then also Legacy is get her something nice for Christmas. And this is for Nadine.
Yes,
we didn't give it
definitely
on the
give
set.
that,
Let's
yes.
put up Dr. Miles Munroe picture and Ruth Munroe. And he is, Charisa, larger in death than he was alive.
Yes.
And like I say, he was an honoree. I nominated you and your brother. I nominated 30 others, but the GT 100 gala was in honor of this great man. And he said, as we close, legacy is living your life beyond the grave. On that note, let's wish everybody a Merry Christmas. If you can put the camera on all of us.
Yes.
And we're going to, on the count of 3, say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. That's how you can contact us.
Merry Christmas.
Put it on all 4 of us, please. all 4 of us, please. And we're running out of time. Can you do that? If not, there we go. Just wish them Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and God bless you all.
All right.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Keep it real, no faking.
All right, there you go. Thank you for being a guest.
Thank you.
We couldn't get to 2 questions, but we'll give it to them and they'll respond to Winning World. Keep it real.